on the question of globalization, I think one of the things that we did learn was what might be good for society overall, call it globalization, is not particularly good for any particular subsection of society. To Gwill's point, a thing that we haven't learned very well is how to do transition for those that get left behind. The big government transition programs, they did not work for the, hollowed out Midwest, as she talked about. And so a thing that we should be concerned about as we start with AI, to Will's point, yes, people who have incentive and education should be able to retool themselves, but it's not a natural, it's not a foregone conclusion. And so I think we shouldn't take it for granted that without, a much more intentful manner, we will, repeat some of the problems of globalization when it comes to adopting AI and new technologies.
I think this is this. There was a question in here talking about globalization, and I guess I think globalization is on I think it's on the decline for a raft of reasons, and the premise that everyone's going to get along and we're going to work together and we're going to end up in a positive place is, I just couldn't disagree with that more. I just think that's not the way the world works. And I don't want to be cynical, but I think at our age, we kind of know how the world works. It's competitive, it's nasty, and he who has the power usually uses it on a national level. And look at Russia right now. My goodness me, how in the world have we gotten to this situation? And so I think that globalization, and we're going the other way, I think, very much so. And that's a real worrisome issue from a lot of standpoints. I think we're working, the countries are bigger countries are competing. I think that we have, believe it or not, actually as a country have limited resources. I don't think that we're trying to endeavor in gunboat diplomacy. We're still trying to do that, except now it's a carrier fleet, okay, or two. And, at some point, that big iron that is that projection of energy, of force with something like a carrier fleet is being defeated by a thing called drones. Mm-hmm. That's technology, okay? So when you see the drones aren't going to destroy the ship, but you'll need one drone that can put a laser on something and can direct a Hellfire missile from 300 miles away. So everything's evolving on the military side, and the U.S.'s place as really the only superpower is being eroded pretty substantially. It's a concern, and it's completely, again, my perspective is very much energy. That's what I live and breathe every day. And energy tends to be in bad places. The really big energy deposits, they tend to be except for the U.S.
Yes, except for us. I'll just build on that point. I was shocked to find out how much of our semiconductors, having been a semiconductor investor for a period of time, had gone offshore. And I was like, who let that happen? That's like letting our energy policy, it was like stunning to me. Really problem. But I would say that the war that we're doing, war technology always wins. And so we're now going into kind of a guerrilla time frame. Remember, we're all Vietnam people, guerrilla warfare. It kind of works. So I don't know what we're going to do about that, but we need new technologies, because I love what you were just saying, Howard. I totally agree, and it makes me nervous.
You're probably talking about, to some degree, rare earths, I assume. I mean, rare earths are, some of you all know what rare earths are.
Yeah, exactly. And I am so banking on new technology to extract the rare earths out of some of the water here and there. And so that'll be a technology and a capital allocation, because we will want to know where our rare earth minerals came from. And some of us will want to pay more than knowing it was child labor in Africa.
And the key that she's talking about, it's not that we don't have rare earths. We've got them. We're all over rare earths, okay? And we've got a thing in Greenland. We got a thing in Wyoming. We're all over rare earths. The problem that Gwill is talking about, for everyone's benefit, is that rare earths have to be processed essentially 2 times. And one of those times, 95% of that processing is done in China. So 20 years ago, when the Chinese were looking downrange at batteries and the electrification, we weren't doing that, but they were. So they locked up the intermediary step, and now they've got control of it, and we've got to get it back.
And we will. We will.
But it's going to be hard to do because we've got environmental issues because they're willing to work with stuff that we aren't willing to work with.